All right, guys. So welcome back to another episode, Everything Business, right? As was promised and by popular demand, right? I'll be looking at the entire POB past paper for 2023, right? A lot of persons have been saying, they're waiting on the answers and the solutions, and here they are. So like, subscribe, share, right, with your friends. I just like to do a disclaimer, right, before I begin. Principles of business is a subjective subject. It's more subjective, and what that means is that it lends itself to more opinions, right? And so the answers can vary, right? There is really no in some cases no one answer, right? You can explain something and it makes sense and you get the mark same way, right? I mark for CXC, and so I understand what they're looking for, right, as it relates to the answers and stuff like that. And so the answers that I may provide, right, there may be other answers that could have gone and could have been correct, right? So I want you to bear that in mind, right? And so let's jump right into it. So the first question is, list 4 sources of conflict that may arise in the organization, right? And so for this question, all right, I have 4 here. I have pay rate, right? Unhealthy work conditions, unfair treatment from managers, lack of resources, right? The question says you should list, so you don't even have to explain them, you just write them, right? And that's good. So that's 4 marks. The next question, part B of question 1, it says, describe each of the following strategies used by employees to gain the upper hand during periods of conflict. And so we have work to rule and we have picketing, right? Work to rule is really when the workers just do what is expected of them, right? Based on their job description. They don't do anything extra, right? So that's work to rule. And picketing is what we are probably most familiar with, because picketing gets more media coverage, right? So picketing is when people demonstrate to gain support for a cause. You will see them with their placards and so forth and so on. Strike action, when employees totally withdraw their labor, for a period of time. It's most damaging to production-oriented businesses. Then we move on to part C. It says, explain 2 strategies that could be used by management to resolve conflict within an organization. I have here mediation and arbitration. So mediation is really when a third party come in, right? Normally, justice of the peace, pastor, even friend, even somebody from within the organization come in to try and pacify between 2 persons or 2 parties who are having a dispute, right? And then we have arbitration. Arbitration it's more refers to the legal system where the matter is now brought to the courts and the court has to rule between both parties, right? I want to hear what else you would have had for this, right? So you can leave your responses in the comments so I can tell you if you would have gotten a mark here or there. Just leave your response in the comment section. All right. Then we move on to 1D. It says, explain 2 legal or ethical principles that business owners should adopt in the operation of a business, right? And so I just list them there because I'm not going to provide you my explanation per se, right? So it's registration. So a business must be registered, and you explain, right, why a business must be registered, or you can say statutory requirements. Care for the environment is another ethical and even legal principle that business owner must adhere to. And you would explain them, of course. You can't just write those like that and get 6 marks. All right. So question 2, fairly simple. Question 2A, sorry, fairly simple. Define an entrepreneur. It's a person who undertakes the risk involved in starting a business. When I was marking, when marking CXC, sometimes they'll say, okay, if the students or if the candidates have the definition for like a sole trader, then you could give them the mark, right? Yeah, so that would work as well. All right. List 3 characteristics of a typical entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is determined, self-motivated, visionary, takes calculated risk, and there are many other characteristics that you could have stated. Let me know what you wrote in the comment section. All right. So we're moving on finally. Part C of the question. All right, define the term collateral. Collateral is really an asset that is used to stand as security for a loan in the event that you don't repay the loan, right? The collateral is, is then taken by the lender, right, to cover the cost of the loan. So it's a list 3 types of collateral: land, house, car, right? All of those things can be used as collateral. State 2 government regulations, right, which the entrepreneur must comply when establishing business locally, right? And they say you can give provide example of each, right? So for example, registration, a business must be registered. In Jamaica, we have the registration body. It's called the Companies Office of Jamaica. Tax compliance, right? The Inland Revenue Department, that you could give an example for that, right? Employment regulation, for example, minimum wage. I didn't write my examples there, right? I'm just telling you now, right? Employment regulation, right? Minimum wage, and you pay the correct minimum wage, or you pay the correct wage, right? Stuff like that. Environment protection, you protect the environment, you abide by environmental protection laws. All right. So that's 4 marks. And you say identify 2 ways in which entrepreneur contribute to economic development of a country, right? I gave 3 ways here. Create income through employment. You could explain that, right? Discover new sources of raw material. You can explain that as well. And introduce new technologies. You can explain all of that, right? And you would have gotten your 6 marks. You can't just write them like that, and get the 6 marks. I just want to make that clear, right? You have to write more. If you write them like this, you're just going to get probably 2 marks, right? Out of the 6, you have to explain them, right? Which means you probably have to write maybe 2 more sentences on them, all right? Then question 3, identify 2 factors, right, that must be considered when packaging goods for resale. You have to look at the size, the weight of the product, the distance, the cost of the product, right? You also have to look at type of product. I didn't have that there, but that's there. You have to look at the type of product, right? The ease of spoilage and stuff like that, right? So let me know what else you have, right, for question 3A. Question 3B, 1, list 4 qualities of successful salespersons. Successful salesperson must be a good communicator. They must have great people skills or human relation skills, right? They must be persistent and resilient. They must be adaptable and knowledgeable. All right, so next part of the question says, describe 2 sales promotion techniques, right? I did not describe them here. I want you to know that, right? Discounts, contests, and giveaways. So you would tell what discounts are. You would explain what the contests and giveaways are. So you know that discount is a reduction in the price it's given to customers, and then you know that the contest and giveaway, like you you buy something and you are entered into a contest to win maybe a car, right? Or in Jamaica here we have some of them where for example, if you buy credit, you get for the month you get like extra $100 credit and stuff like that, right? Sometimes you can have buy one you get one half price, or buy one you get one free. All those are sales promotion techniques, all right? Or they have certain days where they offer certain type of discounts and stuff like that. That can work too. Then I ask you to distinguish between cash discount and trade discount. So cash discount is really a reduction in price offered to customers when they pay quickly, while trade discount is really the reduction in price that is given to traders or resellers, right, who purchase in bulk. Right, for accounting students, you would know that cash discounts are recorded in the books, while trade discounts are not recorded in the books, in the accounting books. All right, so 3D, it says Kylie created a new rhythm of Caribbean soca beats and wants to sell it online to overseas producers. So we must explain to Kylie, right, the importance of obtaining copyright for our music. So copyright protects our music from being replicated and others being credited for our work, right? So that's basically, you know, your argument should surround this, right? Then it says, explain to Jovan the value of obtaining a trademark for his product. So the trademark really distinguishes your product, you know, from other products, thus making it easier for customers or consumers to find or identify your product. All right. Yeah. Question 4 now. So state two functions of each of the following intermediaries in the chain of distribution. Retailers really break bulk and they sell in small quantities. They interact directly with customers, right? So I just gave 3, right? Wholesalers sell in large quantities, right? And they are the link between producer and retailer, right? Wholesalers also store and buy in large quantities too. So you could have had that there. So let me know what you have in the comment section, all right? Then it says identify 2 links in the distribution chain other than retailers and wholesalers. I mean, come on, it's easy. Producer or manufacturer and consumer. Moving on to 4C, identify the most suitable type of transportation for each of the following products. Now, this question for me was a bit ambiguous. I'm not sure what they're asking. Well, I know what they're asking, but I'm not sure what they want you to write. If they want you to write, like, you know, truck or car or stuff like that, right? But I'm suspecting that when marking, if persons have the different methods of transportation, like how I have here, right? While if persons have like truck or car or bike or whatever, right, then they would still get the mark, all right? So even if you have truck and car or whatever, I think it would still be correct, right? But, you know, there are really 3 types of transportation or 3 methods of transportation. You have road, as a matter of fact, you could say land, air, and sea. So land, you could say road and rail. You get what I'm saying? Right? And then you have air and sea. So meat products from local farm to restaurant, you could say road, or you could just say land, and that would be cool, right? Or you could say truck or whatever, because that would still be land. Bricks from construction company to building site, right? Again, you could say land or road, or you could specify by saying trailer or truck or whatever, right? Crude oil from oil field to refinery, we say C right there, right? So that could work. Or you could say ship if you want to, right? Cars from country A to country B. You could say sea as well, or you could say ship, right? Container, whatever. It definitely would not be air, right? You know, air transportation is not for heavy products. So part D, it says list 4 problems that may occur in distribution of goods. They say lists, right? So you don't have to explain these. Incorrect destination, goods may be damaged, goods may spoil, shipment can be delayed, right? Then I think the next question is going to ask for you to explain 2 measures how you can mitigate against these challenges. So 1, careful documentation and routing of cargo will prevent goods from ending up at the wrong destination. Proper storage and packaging of goods can prevent damage or even spoilage, right? Then the last question now, it says, define the term standard of living. It refers to the quality of life of people that live in a country. Identify 2 factors that determine a country's standard of living. I gave like 1 million right here, right? Size of the population, income, inflation, government, exportation, devaluation, right? So you just identify 2. You don't have to explain them, just identify them. Then it says, define the term rate of infant mortality. Now, when I saw this, right, I know many persons probably would not, you know what this is, but I mean, from looking at it, infant mortality, you should get that it's something relating to children, and mortality would relate to, you know, your death, right? So, you know, I guess some persons could put this together, but it's just 2 marks. So if you don't get it, don't worry yourself. So infant mortality, you know, it refers to the death of infants, right, during the first year of life. It is sometimes used as a measure, right, of the well-being of the society, as it reflects aspects of social, economic, and healthcare conditions. So sometimes they use it, infant mortality, to measure, right, how well a country is doing. Just like how they use life expectancy of the people in the country to help to measure the people's standard of living too. Yeah, right. So it's similar to that. All right. So that's just 2 marks there. So if I didn't have that, don't worry yourself too much. Then part B said, describe each of the following measures of national income. GNP, gross national product. So gross national product is really a monetary value. They are the monetary value of all the goods and services produced in the country by citizens of the country, as well as produced overseas by citizens of the country. Right? GDP now is a total measure of the goods and services produced locally or within the country. Then I have per capita income, which shows how much income is made by a single person in the population. It's not really a good measure of national income, but it is a measure, right? Part C, it says state 2 reasons why countries engage in international trade, right? So I have about 4 here. So some countries are unable to produce some goods, right? It promotes growth for the country since there will be increased employment, political connections to earn foreign exchange, right? You could state any 2 of those and you could even have more, right? That is not there. So you can let me know what you wrote in the comment section, all right? Part D says identify 2 ways, right, in which foreign investments could positively impact Caribbean countries, right? So one, obviously, increase employment. It says explain rather. Did I say identify? It's explain. So 1, increase employment. 2, introduce new technologies. And 3, contribute to economic growth. You realize that these questions, are kind of linked, right? So it should be a bit easier to pick up marks in these last questions, all right? So obviously you wouldn't leave it like that. You would have to explain, right? Explain these to get the 6 marks, right? And what that means is you need to write at least 2 more sentences on each of these, right? I gave 3, you only need 2. So you write 2 more sentences on each and you got the 6 marks. So that's the end of the POB paper for this year, for 2023, right? I want you to let me know how you did in the comment section below. If you have various or varied answers, let me know, right? Because it helps others too when you share what you have so that they can know moving forward, right? What answer could work. I could tell you if the answer work, yes or no. All right. So thank you for watching, right? And I'll definitely see you in the next one. All good.